Today, Indy Lights championship action returns to the rolling hills of Central Ohio after a 6-year absence. Since then, a new generation of challengers has formed, all unfamiliar with these twists and turns. And with the additional pressure of a tense points battle, the necessity of conquering these hills is paramount. Mid-Ohio awaits. The road course at Mid-Ohio. It is one of the highly anticipated stops by any open-wheel driver because it's 2¼ miles of twists and turns and elevation changes, and it's a special challenge. And it's the scene today of Dayton Indy Lights championship action. Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Gary Gerald. Great as always to have you with us once again for Indy Lights Racing. And today, we kick off the second half of the championship points chase. And for one young man in particular, this is a very important day. We're talking about Jason Bright, the Australian driver who until a week ago had the championship points lead. But at the last event, an accident in Chicago sidelined him from the competition, and he lost that championship points lead. But has he come back with a vengeance? On the pole, he'll set the pace going into turn one. And Jason, I'm wondering, it's one thing to go out and get one quick lap for the pole. How tough is it going to be to run an entire race considering your back injury?
It's going to be a long way. I think, my back's handling it okay, but my neck, having not been on a road course for so long, and the other guys have been and done a couple of road course tests since Chicago, my neck's suffering a little bit this weekend, but I think we've got a very good car. The car's been, quick all weekend. I wasn't able to make the most of it in practice, but, qualifying and the warm-up there, the car's just really come on strong, and I think that'll make it easier on me as the day goes on.
He has already won this year in a road course at Portland. The immediate challenge comes from a Doricott teammate. For that story, let's go to Jan Beekes.
Gary, the last time that we were on a permanent road course, of course, was in Portland. And in Portland, we had Townsend Bell was on the pole, his teammate Jason Bright on the outside. But we got down to the festival curves. Jason Bright took advantage, went on to win the race. Now we have the exact opposite. Townsend Bell, his teammate, starts on the outside of the front row. So my question is, do you have a payback plan for Jason in the first turn?
Should be nice. There's room down there to go side by side, but we certainly don't make any plans going into the first corner. Neither between the two of us or in my own head. You got to sort it out once you get down there and see what kind of run each guy gets when the green flag drops. So important things to finish the race. We're both doing well in the points, and we'd like to have Doricott cars on the podium. So we'll just see what shakes out when we get down there.
It should be exciting, and sometimes being on the outside of the front row here is an advantage. Let's check in again with Rick DeBrule.
Well, it's been a busy couple of weeks for Scott Dixon. 2 weeks ago, he won at Chicago. Last weekend, he ran a mini triathlon. A couple days later, he was testing in a champ car. Now, today, he's got a battle here at Mid-Ohio. The problem is, he says the car isn't quite as strong as he'd like to see it. I guess the question is, how good is that car today?
We've changed it once again for the race. So, we've been struggling a little, through the whole week. We've, been testing a lot of stuff, and I don't know, we just seem to be really struggling on low grip courses. So, hopefully we've changed it, as I said, for the race again, and we might pick something up, but who knows.
Is this one of those days where you think points or you think victory?
Definitely points at this stage. Be happy to, get some points here for sure. We just go out there and, look to finish.
Easy to say that now. Wait till see what happens during the race. Gary?
Well, talking about point standings, let's check out. After 6 events, the lead for Dixon is a dozen. But most notably for Jason Bright, even though he gets a point for winning the pole yesterday, he has slipped 5 spots by missing that one race on the mile oval at Chicago. A spectacular August day in Central Ohio, and here at Mid-Ohio, all is in readiness now for round 7 of the Dayton Indy Lights championship season. Glad to have you on board. Gary Gerald, Jan Beekes, Rick DeBrule will be bringing you the action. The cars have fired their engines behind the safety car, driven by Kelly Williams with Leah Bartlett alongside. They are warming the tires and getting ready as we check out the starting grid. That front row, the Doricott teammates, Jason Bright by 0.05 of a second, got the number 1 starting position. In the second row, Detroit winner Johnny Kane alongside Michigan Super Speedway winner Philippe Giaffoni. In the third row, the third member of the Doricott team, Casey Mears, next to Jeff Simmons, who's bouncing back after a big crash in qualifying yesterday. The Pac West teammates in the fourth row, that'd be Tony Renna and Scott Dixon, number 1 in points. In the fifth row, it's Chris Meninga and Andy Boss. Row 6, teammates for Team Mexico, Quaker Herdez. That's Mario Dominguez and Luis Diaz. In the 7th row, it's Jeff Boss. Derek Higgins now joins the tour on a regular basis through the rest of the season. In the 8th row, it's Rodolfo Levine and Rolando Quintanilla. And another rookie driver from Mexico, Rudy Junco, completes our 17-car field. Well, today's event, we mentioned the distance here is just over 2¼ miles. It'll be 34 laps. Jason Bright with a lap at 109 plus miles per hour to get the pole, and the field is separated by just over 2 seconds. Interesting layout here at Mid-Ohio. We talk about all of the twists and turns. You get an idea on the overview here. And Jan, this is one where you've got all kinds of elevation changes to deal with.
Yes, and you also have some great places to pass as well. The best certainly would be coming off the end of the back straightaway. You have a good opportunity also coming up to what's known as the keyhole. You definitely don't want to try and turn one. That's too fast. And if you're brave, maybe stick your nose in what they call the carousel. Now, you talk about elevation changes. If you take the finish line as the 0 point, you can see how much up and down you have. 87 feet up in the keyhole, down to 103 minus there, and that is not a very long stretch of pavement. You go downhill, you get some big time speed, 160 miles an hour, then up and down, up and down, up and down. The drivers love this place.
Our onboard cameras today will have this view from Chris Meniga. Our friends at Barber Dodge have provided this camera today. There are 6 graduates of Barber Dodge Racing in the Indy Lights ranks, including Chris Meniga. Scott Dixon, our season points leader, will be starting 8th. Gives us this view over his shoulder. And a 3rd onboard look today will be courtesy of Casey Mears, who starts 5th in car number 2. Well, let's get a quick update relating to Johnny Kane, who starts inside row 2 as we check in with Rick DeBrule.
Well, Gary, we mentioned that Jason Bright missed Chicago. Johnny Kane did as well. He had an accident during the practice on Saturday, missed the race. As a result, he missed those points. He done very well this weekend. He qualified 3rd. He was 2nd fastest this morning. He knows it's time to turn on the heat.
Johnny Kane knows that if he's going to get back totally in that championship points fight, he needs a big performance in this one today. And he will keep an eye on one of those green and white cars. He's in the 2nd row. Field nicely aligned, looking for the green. They start on the backstretch. They cross the stripe. The green flag is displayed simultaneously on the pit straightaway as well. And the scramble for positions is on. Here comes that first right-hand turn.
I thought for a moment that Chris Meniga was going to be in trouble in the orange car. We were going to have a 3-wide sandwich, but so far everyone is giving each other room.
Looks like Townsend Bell got the nice jump. Oh, there's close contact as a couple get by Meniga. Close to contact, but of course in open wheel racing, the slightest contact can end up ruining your day.
He's got somebody on his left. You can see that he's giving him room as well. Hats off to all the Indy Lights boys. There was some close competition, and we didn't see any contact. That's awesome.
That has always been a concern on the start here at Mid-Ohio. You get everybody on that straightaway where you're going downhill, as John indicated. At racing pace, that'll be up to 160 miles per hour. So Bell has the lead. Giaffoni has taken 2nd. Jason Bright slipped back a notch to 3rd. Simmons 4th. Kane is 5th as they come by the grandstands for the first time.
We talked about that payback plan, and certainly for Townsend Bell, that was an awesome start, and here comes Simmons. Yow!
Oh, nice job, and look at Jason Bright way outside. And Jan, you got to wonder how the comfort zone is for him in the car because of that back injury. They designed a new seat, and he knows that he's got a huge challenge today, and he has slipped a couple of spots.
But look for Scott Dixon. In fact, Scott Dixon has got the position again from Bright. So he is steadily falling back. I was going to say he appeared to be, I hate to say asleep, but he certainly didn't react to the green flag the way that you would hope, and now he's struggling big time.
Boy, and the car's slipping just a little bit right there. Let's add a comment from the pits relating to Jason's first laps here. Rick?
I just checked with the team moments ago to see if Jason had said anything about problems with the car, and said no, so far he hasn't said anything. And in fact, this morning during the warm-up, he parked the car with 5 minutes to go because he said it felt perfect, let's not do anything. It's going to run great, and he's obviously slipping back.
Well, he's got his more than his hands full right now as he gets in a challenge from the backside by Andy Boss in that red car. Wright has slipped back. Townsend Bell still the leader. Giaffoni still 2nd. Then the cool cars driven by Simmons and Kane. Dixon now has advanced to 5th. Wright is back in 6th position. So things have not gone well in the first 2 laps at Mid-Ohio for the man who started from the pole, returning from an injury that cost him the championship points lead.
You also mentioned Andy Boss. He started 10th. He's up to 7th, and he is the next person that is behind Jason Bright, and he's had a tough weekend as far as getting the times on the chart. But he says his car is the best that he's had all year, and he expects that if he gets a couple opportunities, he'll be going towards the front.
Boy, Townsend Bell has opened up a better than 2-second lead right now. Giaffone has Simmons and Kane directly behind him, so we keep an eye on that trio running 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Giaffone in the red car on the right side of the stream.
Now, Philippe Giaffone is another one of these guys that has had a champ car test recently. We mentioned that Scott Dixon did, but he had a big one. He had a 2-day test at Sebring to where Tony Kanaan shook down the Mo Nunn racing machine, and then Philippe Giaffone had the chance to get in and see what he could do. And the first day he was only 7/10 off of Kanaan, the second day a second. And he said, well, that sounds maybe not too good, but my times were pretty equal to Alex Zanardi, and that's pretty darn good company.
I would say that's excellent company. That's Giaffone holding on to 2nd place. Simmons, the rookie driver in this series, another graduate from the Barber Dodge ranks, runs 3rd. Johnny Kane with that little orange spot on the nose, his teammate right behind him. Well, Scott Dixon started in 8th place. He is currently running in 5th. He's picked up 3 spots as we ride with him.
He'll be in 5th gear, almost 60 miles an hour. You'll see the cones go by as braking markers. This will be 2nd gear all through this section, up over the top of the brow. The idea is momentum, back and forth, back and forth. You want to try and save a little speed on one corner. This will be the approach to Thunder Alley, as it's called, where we have that awesome shot, a camera on the wall, where you can see the guys get light and come over and hang the back out. The carousel is 60 miles an hour here, and you see how the guys in front don't leave any room on the approach. And that's because they know Scott Dixon is back there. You don't ever want to leave a car width. To give a guy an idea, he might want to poke his nose in there.
So Scott Dixon has made a nice advance from 8th to 5th currently. Ooh, Kane dropped the wheel off. He's got a great run going up there toward the keyhole. He has the outside line, and hanging on for dear life is Kane. Oh, and Simmons goes around. Simmons has spun, and the rest of the field goes by. He tries to keep the engine running. Let's see if he can get refired and keep from losing further ground. That doesn't look encouraging. Flips the visor up. He apparently has stalled. Oh, no, he got it rolling right there at the very last moment. Well, let's go back and take a look. We were keeping an eye on the run by Dixon, and you can see Simmons sliding.
Just got in there a little too hot, got on the power, tried to spin it around, but you know, Scott Dixon, what an awesome job of trying to pass on the outside and then see that Simmons is in trouble, and he ducks in. That was a good bit of driving there.
Well, we'll take a break from early action here in the Dayton Indy Lights Championship Series. We're at Mid-Ohio with Townsend Bell setting the pace. But we're keeping a close eye on Scott Dixon. And look at the spectacular action in Turn 9 on this layout. Oh, baby, it's a wild ride in Ohio.
Speed corner, down every flat-out straightaway, every Indy Lights car runs on Dayton Daytona tires. Dayton, performance for every road.
At Pep Boys, you can win a 4-wheel drive truck or one of hundreds of other prizes. Now through August 31st, enter to win in the Pep Boys ESPN Great Outdoor Games Sweepstakes.
Pep Boys.
Cars like us.
People love us.
Zero! Listen here, Petunia! 1-800-CALL-ATT for collect calls can save you big bucks!
1-800-CALL-ATT! Dial 1-800-CALL-ATT for collect calls.
Choose one. Either Wendy's Delicious Classic Double with cheese or Heather.
What was that again?
Choose either Wendy's Classic Double made fresh so it's very hot and juicy or Heather.
Wow,
Well?
Heather?
That's never happened before.
Yeah, I knew it. We should have had a biggie fries and a drink.
Wendy's Classic Double with Cheese. Bliss, at least when it comes to hamburgers.
And remember, Wendy's pickup window is open late, so you can eat great even late.
They're young. And some just think that way. The people and companies that were born digital. Or reborn. As comfortable with data as the last generation was with the telephone. As long as they have the right set of tools. And the right company behind them. WorldCom, Generation D.
Today's Indy Lights Championship action from Mid-Ohio is being brought to you by Dayton Tire, performance for every road. And by Pep Boys, cars like us, people love us. Townsend Bell has opened up a 3.8-second lead at the moment over Philippe Giaffone. Dixon still in 4th place. Andy Boss has moved from 10th up to 6th. So a couple of guys in mid-pack have made nice runs early on. Also, we mentioned that Jeff Simmons did get the car refired, and he is running in last place at this particular moment. He's 25 seconds back, and this is why.
In slow motion, you get the opportunity, and I think if we stop it right about here, I can tell you where we need to watch. Watch the back of the car, watch Simmons' car. It will start to step out this direction when he hits the brake and when he starts to downshift. He's a little bit high right there, starts a little bit hot, a little bit high, starts to downshift. Rotation, at this stage he's thinking, okay, now I just have to hit the throttle. That's why you see all the smoke, trying to spin it back around. And there's that awesome job of driving by Scott Dixon. And in fact, the best way to see what Scott Dixon did is to ride on board and see his view. Right now, the only thing he's thinking about, I'm going to pass him. I'm going to go on the outside. I'm going to do this. I got it. And then right here, he's thinking, all right, I have to change my battle plan. Get onto the, but that was a nice bit of job of driving for a guy who's only 20 years old.
20 years of age and just celebrated a birthday a few weeks ago, and he currently runs in 4th place. Now back up front with Townsend Bell. Townsend, John mentioned starting the show, 2nd place finish at Portland today. He got the jump on Jason Bright, his teammate. Jason, incidentally, is running in 5th position. Let's learn more about Townsend Bell's day as we go to the pits and Rick DeBrule.
Well, Townsend hasn't actually had the best history here at Mid-Ohio. In fact, he crashed on Friday. He was doing well. It just set the pole position lap during qualifying when he crashed. And when he ran here in Barber Dodge last year, he crashed on the first lap, had contact with another car. So he's kind of hoping that he's got all those gremlins out of the way. And from the way he looks right now, there's nobody to come into contact with.
We have indication that Andy Boss, who had moved up to 6th place, had a little incident a moment ago, and he has slipped back. Unfortunately for him, he has now fallen toward the back of the field as well. He had made a nice move, and Chris Meniga has got a problem. He is off course.
Looks like turn 1 is my guess. Sure enough.
Yep, they head up toward the keyhole.
Don't ask me how I know that, because I've been in the grass in turn 1. I know what it looks like.
Well, in fairness, let's quickly point out and let the record clearly state, John Beek has won a lights race here. It's been, what, 12 years ago, 1988. That Jan counts himself among the 9 different winners in lights competition in years past.
Now, Philippe Giaffone is doing a nice job, but he certainly is starting to feel the pressure from the green and white car there of Johnny Kane. Johnny actually had a bit of a scare this morning. They went to fire up the car and it wouldn't fire, and they quickly had to jump all over that car and change the electronics. And thankfully, they obviously have found that problem.
This is the best race on the course at the moment, and it is for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. You can see the 5th car is Jason Bright trying to hang on to that trio. Bell's lead is 4.5 seconds. You can see him at the top of the screen heading up there toward the keyhole.
You know, Townsend Bell has been shockingly fast. I didn't think that anyone was just going to run away with this after what we saw in qualifying, but his car is obviously perfect, and he's on the go.
See if we can learn what happened to Chris Meniga a few moments ago.
Approaching turn number 1, which, by the way, is a 4th gear, 125-mile-an-hour corner. And, wow, that was weird. It just didn't turn.
Boy, and you could hear him get out of the throttle there, too, immediately, as if he sensed something was happening. And he's now gone to the pits. So Meniga, Andy Boss, and Simmons have all had problems. There's Meniga now for the Conquest team, and Rick, you're standing right there. We see you.
Yeah, the team is scrambling to try and figure out what's wrong. They're looking in the back end. Chris came in and just immediately shut off the engine. The team is flexing all the parts in the back. They're looking on the rear suspension. They're not looking in the engine. So apparently they think he's got some type of suspension problem. They haven't found anything. Looks like they're ready to restart him and send him back out, but this does not look good.
Well, you hear the engine fire, and he does pull away. 25-year-old driver out of Iowa in his second year of lights competition, hoping to get back out there and possibly have some better fortune before all is said and done on this spectacular August day here at Mid-Ohio. Townsend Bell with a 4.5-second lead. We ride with Scott Dixon. He's still in 4th place. Here's the current standings after 10 of 34 laps. More from Ohio in a few moments.
Okay, Mike, you're at $1 million. Who's your lifeline going to be?
I'll go with Jay.
Yes! Jay! I'm the one with the cable modem.
Go online with a dial-up connection and you'll be sorry. Connect to Comcast at home and you'll download up to 100 times faster than a 28.8 phone modem.
Got it!
Come on, Jay.
Come on!
Goodbye.
Comcast at home. Sign up today and get free installation.
Final answer?
What kind of man watches Playboy TV?
He'd be smart.
He'd be strong, yet sensitive. He's sexy.
Interesting.
He'd have a sense of adventure, a sense of style.
He'd be good with his hands.
You're really good with his hands. A sense of himself. I watch it too sometimes. Exciting. He'd have a certain je ne sais quoi. Sense of humor.
Sexy. Very sexy.
Sexy. What kind of a man watches Playboy TV?
My man.
Jake, if you choose to join us, I'm confident you'll find it very rewarding both on and off the field.
Well, Coach, if you're going to have any success in this recruiting business, you can't pull out your old speech. You got to give them something special. Try this.
Jason, Jason, tried and true. Jason, Jason, we want you!
Quick reminder that coming up, the X Games kickoff Thursday, 10 o'clock Eastern from San Francisco. The show to be hosted by Andy Dick. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Well, we look across the way and we see yellow flags flying. Here is the reason why. Philippe Giaffoni, who was trying to hang on to second place, suddenly had a challenge, and this incident, it also involved Johnny Kane. Let's take a quick look here, Jan.
Johnny Kane is in perfect position if he wants to try an overtaking maneuver, but you know what? He's a little bit too far back. I mean, he's got a great run coming up the inside, but it's sort of a half-hearted move. That's almost what we saw between the Team Cool teammates in the Champ Car Series, Dario Franchitti and Paul Tracy. I mean, it's a great idea, but he didn't get his car far enough alongside. See, he's got momentum. He's got a bit of action there, but that's just not far enough alongside.
Take a look now from Scott Dixon's seat now, who is right behind him. Remember, he's running in 4th place.
Okay, he sees this happening, and now he's just on alert. He's like, okay, smoke, and okay. But you see, I mean, there was no hesitation.
Yeah.
You just go for it. You go for the throttle, and you go for the gap, and that's exactly what you do. You don't want to hesitate.
Well, that's 2 times now that Dixon has taken evasive action, and it has certainly paid off. He is now in 2nd place. The kart safety team is down there pushing, trying to bump start Philippe Giaffoni's number 21. As for Johnny Kane, he is in the pits. Rick?
Indeed, in the pits, the team is working on the left front suspension, trying to replace a piece. You know, they're very strict with the rules out here as to what is allowed to go back on the track in terms of a bent piece. There is a bent piece. You can see right down here, just off to the side. You can see it's bent right between. They're moving it apart. They had actually replaced that. Now they're going to send them back out on the track. But obviously the contact is costing him big time.
And we talked about how important this race is for Johnny Kane and his championship hopes as he gets back under power. He's reminded of the pit lane speed limit of 50 miles per hour.
So let's see when he comes out, just as we go to break. Did he beat the pace car? Looks like he did.
So that is some good news for John Kane, but certainly after challenging for that 2nd position, he has got a monstrous challenge in front of him now. So under full course yellow, safety car on the track. Here's the way we stand after a dozen laps.
Combat Rangers. They're rough, they're tough, they're battle-tested. They're lean, mean fighting machines. When there's a battle to to be won. Combat Rangers get the job done. Making backyards safe for democracy.
Now, tell me why they're wearing dresses.
The commander uniforms didn't arrive from China.
That's because you picked the wrong shipping company.
Next time, use the only U.S. Express shipper with direct routes from China, FedEx. Be absolutely sure.
Matching night vision tiara sold separately.
When water attacks, it can transform your beautiful deck into a danger zone. Boards warp and crack, weakening your deck. But Thompson's gives you the highest level of water protection available to protect your deck like no other. Thompson's. It never takes a day off, guaranteed.
As much as you have to run around these days, you need tires guaranteed to keep up. See the pros at Sears Auto Center today and get all Michelin tires on sale right now. Quick expert service, great deals on Michelin tires. Get rolling to Sears.
This Wednesday, the high-flying Yanks look to dominate in the Lone Star State. Bernie Williams is on a tear, and he hopes to shut down Palmero and the Rangers. Then, the AL wildcard race is heating up. Jason Giambi is having a career year. Tony and Fryman are as hot as August. The A's and Indians battle it out. Yankees, Rangers at 7 on ESPN. Indians, A's at 10:30 on ESPN2. Wednesday.
Mid-Ohio Sports Car Complex is just a couple of hours from Dayton, Ohio, and that's where Dayton Tire was founded in the early 1900s. Earlier this week, Casey Mears and Townsend Bell stopped by a Dayton Tire distributor to compare notes and meet some local fans.
We came back here to Dayton, Ohio since the tire company started way back in the early 1900s. We wanted to show everybody that Dayton is alive and well. We're here preparing for the event that's going to be held at Mid-Ohio. Dayton Indy Lights comes back there for the first time in a while.
I just came up here to bring Dayton basically back to Dayton. It just started here quite a while ago, and now that it's coming back into the sport and it's getting big in Indy Lights, and it's done very well for us.
Great supporter of Indy Lights Championship Racing, the folks at Dayton Tire. Their efforts are certainly appreciated. As you look at the current standings, we're still under yellow, anticipating green. Let's go back and review that situation one more time, Jan.
Yes, and you know, we talked about that it appeared as though Johnny Kane was in perfect position to pass, but as you can see here on the approach, that he just didn't have that car alongside, which is really what you need to do.
All right, green flag comes out as they come out of the carousel and up the hill, headed for turn one. And now for Townsend Bell, Scott Dixon is immediately behind him, and it could be a brand new challenge. Remember, Dixon started 8th. He has worked his way forward. He's had some help. Casey Mears gets a challenge. Tony Renna makes a pass on Casey Mears, the number 18 car. Renna doing an outstanding job to take over 4th place. We ride with Casey.
And they just told Tony on the radio, be smart, we need points. Well, he decided he wants more than points. He wants to get up there and challenge for the lead.
Very aggressive move on the start. Dixon takes a quick peek. They come down that long back straightaway and head for turn 4. And now the twisty, undulating portion of this track. Great crowd on hand to watch the Indy Lights Championship action here today. Townsend Bell, who had opened up a 4.5-second lead over his closest challengers, now got himself maybe 8-10 car lengths with Dixon, Jason Bright right behind.
You know, Jason Bright is looking real racy here. Remember that on the initial start, it just didn't look like he had any speed at all. And now it appears as though Dixon is the guy who's struggling, and Jason has got a lot of speed. He wants to stay in contest with his teammate.
We were very concerned about Jason Bright at the start of this race. First couple of laps, he went backwards. He lost 5 spots, but now he's worked his way back up thanks to the misadventures of a couple of folks in front of him. And he has got Tony Renna and Casey Mears directly behind him. 3 blue cars in succession. Halfway point of our competition, starting the second half of the championship points chase. You can see how Jason Bright has started today from the pole back to 6th and currently in 3rd spot. More from the pits and Rick DeBrule.
Just want to update the situation with Felipe Giaffoni. This is the nose that was on the front of the car. You can see this end of the wing plate is missing. The damage done up here. They brought him in.
Oh, we've got another problem. Got another problem, Rick. We interrupt you because one of the cool cars has made contact.
Actually, it's one of the Team Mexico cars.
Oh, it is. Yes, it is. I saw green and white. And Rodolfo Levine appears on the left-hand side. And that's Luis Diaz in number 78.
And that was pretty much a instant replay of what we had seen before.
And he's hung up. He can't get up. You see the wheels spinning. Front of the car on the asphalt. Full course yellow is being displayed.
You know, watch here. This is a case. It's almost an exact instant replay, except for Rodolfo Levine almost gets his car into position. Luis Diaz has to turn in eventually for the corner. They make the contact, and that's twice that we've seen it. Johnny Kane was not even that far alongside, and you really have got to be fully alongside the guy that you're trying to overtake. Like, the good example is right there, Rudy Hunko in this car right there.
Ooh, my.
He did it properly, so we had the opportunity to see one done correctly and one not certainly in position, and that curb didn't help him. Rodolfo Levine certainly didn't have any help from the curb there. It kind of jumped him right over there for some pretty serious contact.
Well, that's really unfortunate for both Diaz and Levine, because that was a fight for 6th place. There's Rodolfo now with the helmet off and walking away in his car, and he was looking at potentially one of his best finishes of the year. So again, under yellow in this spectacular setting. Back with more from Mid-Ohio.
For safety, protection, and convenience, take your car to the track or a show in a Featherlight trailer. Featherlight trailers feature a long-lasting, sturdy, all-aluminum design, perfect for strength yet lightweight for easy towing. There's even plenty of storage for tools and parts. No wonder Featherlight is the official trailer of kart, NASCAR, ARCA, and the world of outlaws. Visit your Featherlight dealer or call 1-800-800-1230 today for an affordable Featherlight trailer. Featherlight. Safe, secure, smart.
So has he kissed you yet?
No, he's really shy.
That's so cute. I think tonight's the night, though.
Good luck.
You hungry?
Yeah.
2 quarter pounders with cheese?
No onions.
No onions? No onions.
We make it hot, fresh, right to order. Whatever you want on it,
Nothing you don't.
We love to see you smile.
Summer's heating up, and that means it's hard court season. See the top players on the ATP Tour as they tune up for the biggest tennis event on American soil. This week, the RCA Championships begins Wednesday at 1 on ESPN2.
Coming up next Sunday, NASCAR Winston Cup action from the 2-mile oval at Michigan, a 1 o'clock Eastern start where Bobby Labonte is the defending champion of the Pepsi 400. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Still under yellow here in Indy Lights Championship action. A lot of activity today for Kelly Williams behind the wheel of the pace car. And we'll go back and review the latest contact involving Diaz and Levine.
Okay, now this is a great example of how to pull off the picture-perfect pass. That's Rudy Hunko making it done perfectly, and this is an example of how not to do it. So if we let it run, you can see that one car is certainly well in position, makes it look very, very easy indeed. But for Rodolfo Levine, he never really gets his car fully alongside. Luis Diaz doesn't really know he's there. The curve doesn't help. These two guys are in big trouble. Rudy Hunko pretty much picks up 3 positions in a very short space of time.
Well, there's been a lot of difficulty for a lot of drivers in this field today. 7 drivers have been involved in incidents thus far. It started out with Jeff Simmons. There was the problem for Andy Boss, Chris Meniga, then the contact between Kane and Giafoni, and now Diaz and Levine. And one of the beneficiaries is Derek Higgins, who started 14th. He is in that car, number 16, the green machine. He's currently running in 6th position. So we continue to circulate under yellow. 18 of the 34 laps are now.
Through every high-speed corner, down every flat-out straightaway, every Indy Lights car runs on Dayton Daytona tires. Dayton, performance for every road.
On your scale from 1 to 10, how clean are your teeth right now? Want them cleaner? Get ready for a whole new level of clean. Introducing Advanced Cleaning from Crest Multicare. The best Crest ever at repelling stains, tartar buildup, and that filmy feeling. So your teeth feel slick and smooth. Your mouth feels cleaner long after you brush. And that's a feeling you can't measure. New Advanced Cleaning from Crest Multicare. Open up and smile.
If you're calling your village, collect calls with 1-800-CALL. AT&T can save you big bucks. It's the same low rates every minute, everywhere. 1-800-CALL-ATT. You have saved big bucks, my son.
Nature made it. Minwax makes it beautiful with rich wood stains and long-lasting protective finishes. Turning a house into a beautiful home is as easy as turning to Minwax.
Hi, do you have any mozzarella?
Sorry, we're all out.
Give me a pound of mozzarella.
How about some nice provolone?
Where's all the mozzarella? Well, Dave Thomas put it on Wendy's Mozzarella Chicken Supreme.
No, we're all out of mozzarella.
2 slices of mozzarella, a plump, juicy whole chicken breast fillet topped with a delicious Parmesan sauce. It's a mouth-watering combination.
Dave, Frankie's coming. Dave?
Come in and try Wendy's Mozzarella Chicken Supreme today. And remember, Wendy's pickup window's open late, so you can eat great.
Thanks for stopping.
Even late.
Under yellow, the field approaching the carousel, and very shortly we expect to go green as we review the race winners thus far this year. You can see Dixon most recently at Chicago, and he won the first 2 events of the season. Kane, Bright, and Giafone have been involved in ceremonies in Victory Lane also this year. Townsend Bell is our current leader. We ride with Scott Dixon, who is in 2nd place as they start to go through the gears and pick up speed.
And Scott Dixon stayed pretty close this time.
See if the run pays off. Jason Bright in 3rd. Tony Renna in 4th. Then Casey Mears through turn 1. Now they start that climb with the elevation change of better than 80 feet going uphill toward the keyhole. Kind of fanning out for positions.
And Simmons back on the move. That's where he ran into trouble before, but now he's on the inside.
He's made up a lot of ground. He was at the back of the pack, and he's now in the top 10.
But he still doesn't have this pass done.
Not quite. He's battling with Mario Dominguez, and this could be interesting going to the right-hander. Is he far enough ahead? It looks like he's going to make the pass. No, it's not over yet.
Wow. Can you possibly run side by side this whole course?
Well, that's something we haven't seen through that area,
okay.
And it's still not over. Simmons in 26. Dominguez in number 7, and now Simmons gets through. Here comes Dominguez again, but he can't quite do it.
Well, that was pretty much a half lap. That was pretty awesome.
That's back in the middle of the field. Blake Giafone has worked his way, it appeared, back up there. He was trying to grab a position as well.
Unfortunately for Giafone, he did lose a lap, though, when he was stopped on course, so that's not going to be for position. That's a major disappointment for him.
There's Giafone at number 21. Remember, he was running in 2nd place and had that incident that involved he and Johnny Kane, and so lost the lap in the process of having to visit the pits. Scott Dixon, 0.6 of a second behind the leader, Townsend Bell. What do you think, Rick?
I remember at the beginning when he said he was just going for points. I think that is out the window at this point in time. Talking with the team, they were talking about the restarts. They said that Dixon didn't really have enough downforce at the beginning to do a good hop on the restart, but they said after a couple laps, he gets closer and closer. They fully expect him. Once again, they said we're going for points, but they also fully expect him to try and make a jab for the lead once they get up to full speed after a couple of laps.
Jan, as we ride with Dixon here, I'm looking at that lip that's built back on the helmet. Let's talk a little bit about the importance of the aerodynamic design of the helmet as well as the race car.
Yeah, well, what he's talking about here is kind of like a bit of a wing on the back of the helmet, and that's exactly how it works. It's like having a front wing and a rear wing. This rear portion.
Oh, we've got another problem. This is Rudy Hunko in car number 15 coming out of turn 9. On the radio, I'm not conversant in Spanish, so I don't know what's being said here.
That's for our international audience.
Well, we have a full course yellow, and we'll get a chance to see what happened. Doesn't look like there was contact involved, but let's take a peek.
Well, the camera's in the perfect place to see what happened to Rudy.
Oh, hang on, Rudy.
Sure enough, he's already in trouble, and yeehaw!
Boy.
Bit of a bucking bronco ride.
That's the rodeo ride.
Yep, and that's pretty hard to dial in the correction.
And Chris Menega was right behind him doing everything he could to make sure that he didn't get caught up in the action. And that's how close it was for Menega, who dodges to the right. So good evasive action there. Looks like Hunko is back under power. And let's go on board with Chris Minigan. We'll just ride with him. I thought maybe we would have a chance to look at that particular incident. That's not the case at the moment. So another full course yellow, another close call at Mid-Ohio, and it's still a tight battle between Bell, Dixon, Bright, Renna, and Mears.
Mom, I did it. I'm going to Notre Dame.
Honey, I told you never give up on your dreams. I'm so proud of you.
Another driver killed 18-year-old DJ Bernardus in an alcohol-related traffic crash the day after he got his acceptance letter from Notre Dame. Drinking and driving shatters dreams.
I love you.
Save a life. Drive safe and sober.
What kind of man watches Playboy TV?
He'd be smart. He'd be strong.
Yet sensitive. He's sexy.
Interesting.
He'd have a sense of adventure, a sense of style.
He'd be good with his hands.
You're really good with his hands. Sense of himself. I watch it too sometimes. Exciting. He'd have a certain je ne sais quoi. Sense of humor.
Sexy. Very
sexy. What kind of a man watches Playboy TV?
My man.
My apartment has a TV. I watch RPM tonight for my knowledge. The more I watch, the bigger it gets. Someday, I will share my knowledge with the world. That will be a fun day.
It has been 6 years since the Indy Lights cars have competed here at Mid-Ohio. You look back into the mid-'80s when it started through 1994, the list of winners, 9 different men, including our booth companion Jan Beekes, finding victory lane on this layout. And I'm sure, Jan, even though it's 12 years back down the line, some fond remembrances of this day.
Yeah, it feels like yesterday, and this is just an awesome racetrack for Indy Lights. I'm glad they're back, and all these guys are looking so much forward to coming here, and they've just been grinning and smiling. We've had awesome weather here, and this is a great place to drive these cars.
Let's ride with Chris Meniger. We're going to take you back to that incident there involving Rudy Hunko and the MyJack car, and this is the view that Chris had.
Well, he's looking ahead. You're always looking to see what a guy's doing. He says, uh-oh, Hunko's in trouble. He thinks he can just slide by him, and then, whoa!
Oh,
where you going, buddy?
So Chris Meniger dodges the proverbial bullet there. He had lost a lap earlier with an incident, so he is back in 14th position. Tough day for him after he had some good expectations. Last race, remember, we had that incident involving Casey Mears and Chris Meniger. Chris told us yesterday on his back's still a little uncomfortable after the contact they had in the mile oval there going to turn 2 in Chicago.
He also said they had yet to talk about it,
which was rather fascinating.
But he said after this race, he would talk to him about it.
Back to green, lap 27, turn 1, Townsend Bell our leader, Scott Dixon second, and a whole host of contenders trying to come up with something here from behind.
And here comes Renna.
Tony Renna with a nice run, outside line. Jason.
Oh, he suckered him. Oh, he totally suckered him.
And Renna says thank you, and he is in 3rd place.
You know, you were thinking, why would he try a move on the outside? He just totally suckered Jason Bright and got himself on the podium for right now.
Let's hear more about Tony Renna. Rick?
Remember, this morning, both Dixon and Renna were not happy with their car. They made a